In this video, I'm going to be discussing my top 6 most exciting fighters in the UFC, in no particular order. One isn't any higher than 5, but I just wanted to share who I think the most exciting fighters are in the UFC right now, currently active. So, not McGregor. I'm not going to add McGregor. He would be on this list for me personally. He's one of my favorite fighters, and I think he's incredibly exciting, but he is not active, in my opinion, right now. So we will start it off with Michael Pereira. And I think Michael Pereira's excitement in his fights speaks for themselves. He does backflips and he always hunts for the finish, and he's insanely athletic and shredded and goes for the finish every single time. And he does backflips and crazy jump off the cage shots, and he's never in a boring fight, and it's amazing. And yeah, he is pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, Michael Pereira will start us off. And then next up, we will have Tom Aspinall in the heavyweight division. Every single fight Tom Aspinall is in, it is a knockout. He knocks out every single person, or a finish, I should say. But he is a beast on the feet, and you never know what's going to happen. Every single fight with Aspinall is you're on the tip of your toes the entire time, you're on the edge of your seat, if you will. And Aspinall is just a monster and is putting everyone away, and his future is insanely bright, and he has the most anticipated matchup in the UFC right now with John Jones. So I think that alone gives him a spot on this ranking among the most exciting fighters in the UFC. And he is only going to go up from here, and I can't wait to see what he does. And then next up, we have Charles Oliveira. He's on a little bit of a downward. He had a weird fight in his last fight with Arman Tsarukyan, but Arman Tsarukyan is, I don't know, he's pretty good. But Charles Oliveira even made that wrestling match exciting when he was going for submissions and stuff. He's never in a boring fight. He always is either kill or be killed, which is a lot of fighters on this list, or all the fighters on this list. It's completely kill or be killed. They will not stop. They won't let off the gas. They'll just keep going. They're ready to die, and they're ready to do whatever it takes to to finish their opponent. And Charles Oliveira is the epitome of that. He does not stop. He does not look out for his own health. He goes in and clinches knees and throws strikes to the wind, gets rocked in every single one of his fights. But nobody will go to the ground with him. But when they do, that's his big hole. But so he just gets back up and keeps throwing. He doesn't take a step back. He always is moving forward. He breaks his opponents, and it's beautiful to watch. And that's why I have Charles Oliveira on this list. Pretty self-explanatory, that one too. I'm guessing that's on a lot of people's lists. But yeah, Charles Oliveira is a beast. Then next up we have Sean O'Malley. I think Sean O'Malley's striking is the most fun striking to watch. He might not be the best striker in the UFC. We'll get to maybe him in a second. But Sean O'Malley has the most fun striking to watch in the UFC by far, I think, in my opinion. He is the most flashy striker like I've ever seen in my life. I think that's tied up with Conor, but still, he gets a finish a lot of the time. He is always looking for a finish, and he's doing flashy moves whenever he's in there. You never really know what he's going to do. Every single fight he's ever been in has either been a finish or a super fun. He finished Aljamain, which was insane and one of the most crazy moments I've seen, really. Nobody was expecting that to happen. It was amazing. And this fight with Merab is going to be huge. His personality is a little weird and off, but he makes up for it big time with his fight style. His fight style is unbelievable. And his character in general, the way he looks and everything, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it is attracts you to him either through hate or through love or whatever. And you have an opinion about him, a strong opinion about him, no matter what. And he makes every single fight exciting, whether you want him to lose or win. He is always in a position where you feel strongly about his fight. And I think that is powerful for his star power. And yeah, I think he's very exciting, and I think he deserves probably to be, if I were to rank this list, he would be pretty high up. And then next, we'll get to Alex Pereira. I love Alex Pereira. I think he is probably, if one of, if not my favorite fighter. His power is unbelievable. He is the most. If you had to pick a fighter to be on the most edge of your seat of all time, it'd be him because his chin is weirdly mid, and his defense is strange to the point where you're always nervous. You're always nervous for, at least for me. Every second of an Alex Pereira fight, you're nervous. You don't know what's going to happen because he could hit his opponent out with one shot like nothing easily whenever he wants, and he can be put out by shots, and we've seen it happen. The Izzy 2 fight, he was beating the shit out of him the whole fight, and then he gets clipped and goes down and he's out flat, and it was insane. And in the first fight with Izzy, he was getting beat up or outpointed. I wouldn't say beat up for the whole fight, and then he knocks him out in the fifth. You've no idea what's going to happen in an Alex Pereira fight. He's very exciting. He has a certain aura about him that makes him incredibly intimidating and a presence in the octagon. He has the best stare down ever with Yuri Prohaska, in my opinion. That, I think, in their first fight, that was the best stare down I've ever seen. I was jumping up and down for the build up to that fight, and it delivered both times for me. And yeah, Alex Pereira is amazing, and he's a great fighter and extremely exciting, and he very much deserves to be on this list. And then finally, we have someone that's fighting this weekend. We have Dricus Du Plessis. You might have thought I was going to say Izzy, but he's boring, super boring, and Dricus is going to kill him. And Dricus is very exciting. In all of his fights, he throws with reckless regard for just no weird, like, I wouldn't say it's technical at all. He rushes forward and just blitzes and completely has no regard for his safety and always goes for the finish and just throws like a monster into everything he does. And before he got his nose surgery, he would do that and gas out and still be throwing, and it was crazy. And all of his fights are extremely fast paced and extremely fun to watch. And he usually gets the finish. And I'd say Strickland, I like Strickland. He's boring. He made Paulo Costa's fight boring. He's made a lot of fights boring. The fight with him and Dricus was really fun. They went back and forth, and a lot of people think Strickland won, but I think Dricus. I don't think it was a robbery. I think the Dricus win. I had Strickland winning when I first watched that fight, but I think Dricus. I don't think it was a robbery at all. He was throwing heavy, and he was hitting Strickland with shots that weren't just jabs and teeps. And I get that. I get he was getting hit more, but sometimes I think flashier, bigger, just stronger shots are more impressive for the judges and for in general. I think that's why Dricus got the win. And I think Dricus has always had that fight style, and he's a monster. He's has a good personality. He's fun to listen to on like interviews and stuff. Especially with this build up to Izzy. I can't wait to see what they do because it's gonna get a little weird. And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun, and I hope they push some boundaries because that would get really interesting. And I think that Dricus is gonna beat up Izzy pretty good. But yeah, that's my top six. Some honorable mentions I'd say are JDM. I like JDM. He one or two more fights and he'd be on this list. He always gets grappled a lot, but he always just powers through and beats up on the guy. His Gilbert Burns fight was amazing because I picked him and he was getting grappled and I was like, oh damn, and he broke his arm and he still came in and knocked him out at the end and it was amazing. So yeah, he's a good honorable mention, and then of course like Connor, but he's not active. Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, all good honorable mentions. They're just getting older. But yeah, this is my opinion. Those guys could definitely be on this list in the future or at a different time, maybe in the past even. But as of currently, these are my top 6 most exciting fighters in the UFC, and I can't wait to see what all of them do. Every single time, I'm going to be very nervous. I get very worked up for the fights. But yeah, I will see you guys soon.